Okay, everybody, good morning. It's Dave. We are live on Facebook. This is very exciting. Welcome to my kitchen. So what I want to talk to you about today is, I had mentioned in our last video, I'm a big advocate of juicing, fresh juices, because they're just so amazingly good for you. It's pure nutrition that just comes right into your body. It's already basically digested because the juicers take everything that would have to be digested, the fiber, etc., and that's already taken out. So you're getting the pure nutrition of the juice right into your system. It feeds your cells right away, and your cells and this body that you have is made up of hundreds of trillions of cells, and so all those cells get very happy when they have that instant nutrition coming in. All right, so I'm going to show you what I call Dave's Mega Juice. So I'm one of those where I go through and I find everything that I need and I put it all in one juice. You don't actually have to do this, but this is like my super duper uber juice. So we're going to get right into this. So what I did for you is, I'm usually not this organized. I don't put things in bowls. I just kind of cut them up and put them right in, or I keep them on my cutting board on the counter. So I'm going to tell you what I do first and what goes into it. And if you later on at the end, Kathy, my wonderful online social media guru, will put the recipe. So if you wait till the end, you'll see the recipe for it. But I'm just going to show you what I have here. So red cabbage, and this is a little bit over a cup of red cabbage, which I've already cut up. And then ginger root, which I've already diced up. So really about an inch, about the size of my thumb, basically. If you don't like ginger, or if ginger is really has a real big bite for you, just use less of it or don't use it at all. But ginger is very good for you, okay? Jalapeno pepper. So again, this gives a really big kick to the juice. It's not going to be for everybody. So if you don't want that big kick, don't do it, okay? But also pepper, very good for you, and that's a jalapeno pepper. If you can do something that's even more strong, and you got the gut, I can't, but if you can do something stronger, use those other peppers. Okay, and then basically a cucumber. There's 4 pieces in here, so it's I just cut about, I don't know, about an inch, 2 inches of cucumber, of a normal sized cucumber, and that's going in there. And then 1 apple. So remember, everything we're talking about is organic. So all this is organic. None of this is commercially raised. So that's what this looks like when I cut it up. All right, I'll put that to the side. 2 carrots, so I've already cut these up into portions. 2 carrots, it doesn't take long to cut this up. I just half it and I half it again, and then I just quartered it. So it's no big deal. Wheatgrass. So wheatgrass is really amazing, lots of chlorophyll, and I'll just use a chunk of this. I'll show you when I cut it. And then there's 2 different things that I have in here. I have parsley and I have cilantro. Cilantro, along with cracked cell chlorella, is very good for pulling the heavy metals out of your system. And then other different types of greens, and a lot of times I actually use spinach. I don't have spinach today, but I'm using kale, and this is collards. So 2 leaves of collards. This is actually double the amount, because I actually in the morning I make the juice that I'm going to have right now after we're done. And then I make another juice directly after it that not freeze, but I put it in the refrigerator, keep it really cold, and then I bring it right to work with me and I put it right in my refrigerator. So that way I can drink it during the day too. All right? And then the other 2 things that I add in are spirulina. So spirulina is an algae. It's high protein. It's very good for your system. And I put a teaspoon of this in. And then you have your choice if you want to follow what I'm doing here. So this is called green Vibrance, but what it is just a green superfood. So if you go to your local health food store, whatever that is, they're going to have superfoods. So this has like 25 different types of superfoods in it, plus it has probiotics in it and stuff like that. So this is like the real big kicker. And then I just realized, so I'm going to go back to my cabinet here. So stay right there just for a minute. Here I am. Turmeric. So turmeric is really good for anti-inflammatory issues in your body, right? It brings down inflammation, etc. So again, this, just like the ginger and the pepper, small amounts, only do what you need to be doing. I use about 1/4 teaspoon, and that's about it. And anything more than that is a little too strong for me. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of condense all this stuff and get it out of the way so that I can make room for our juicer. And if you're juicing along with me, while we're doing this and I'm condensing, there's a couple different types of juicers that you can use. One is the classic, what we think of as the classic kind that we see a lot of, which are the centrifugal juicers. So those are the ones that spin super, super fast. And what's spinning is this cone inside that has little barbs lined throughout it. Tiny, tiny little barbs, thousands of them. And so when you go in there, it just really rips it to pieces. Now, the challenge with those is that they create a lot of heat of the juice itself. So remember, when you're juicing, that's live living cells of the juice. And that heat can actually break down and, we'll say, destroy about, I believe they say about 40%. Don't quote me on that, but about 40% of the juice. So I would tell you not to be using a centrifugal. If you have it, it's okay. But I would tell you if you really want to go for it, you're going to want to get probably what's called a mastication juicer. And that's what I use. So let me pull that out for you right now. I'll get the stuff back here so you can see it. I've had this juicer, as I said before, for, oh gosh, I think it's going on about 10 years now. So this is a mastication juicer. So all it is, I'm going to break this down really quickly for you to show you how easy it is. So all it is a big auger. It's like a drill bit. So as the vegetables and fruit go down the hopper, it just goes in there, and that turns, that auger turns, you can probably see it. And as it does that, it crushes it, and it pushes it down and through, and as it comes out, the juice will come out, right? So super easy to break this down and to set it up. It takes nothing. Way easier to clean, by the way. So in the centrifugal juicers, you know, if you have them, you got to get in there and kind of get those little barbs clean. In this, it's not an issue because just that auger, you can put it under hot water or just cold water and it'll just rinse right off. And you just rinse everything off and you're good to go. So that's really it. So we're going to turn this on. It's not really loud. Your centrifugal juicer is going to be really loud. This is. And then as we start juicing, you're going to hear, it almost sounds like it's chewing. Right? So you have this little plunger, you just push it down. So the juice is going to come out. I like to catch the first little drips right there to kind of prime it. And then all the excess is going to come through here. So what I usually do for this juice is, once I get this, what I call primed, that's my word that I'm using, is I immediately start doing my red cabbage. And the only reason I'm doing that is because with the mastication juicers, or at least with this one, sometimes because of the volume of the red cabbage, if I put too much in all at once, it'll kind of just get stuck in a sense. So what I do is I start putting this in, and if I see that the red cabbage is starting to back up a little bit too much, then what I'll do is I'll come in right behind it to kind of flush it out, and I'll use usually my carrots, and the carrot, because it's more solid, will push it straight through. So what I'll just do is I'll come in, I'll say, oh, okay, it's starting to get a little wonky in there, so I'll just start putting some carrots down there, and now you'll really start hearing the chewing going on. And the great thing about this is I don't have to worry about the way these are designed. I don't have to worry about, not that I really use my thumb like this, so sometimes I do, but because of the length of this hopper, there's no way I can, that's as far as my thumb goes, and the auger's way down here, so there's no way, even my longest finger, I can't get to that auger, right? I'm not saying stick your finger down it, I'm just saying it's not a big issue, you don't have to worry about it, so. But I would never do that with a centrifugal juicer, depending on which one you have. So you could say, if you guys have them, that a lot of times with the centrifugal juicers, their hopper is much bigger. Like some of those, you could take an entire apple, and basically put this entire thing in the juicer without having to cut it up. So, you know, I can understand if you're saying, yeah, but it's faster to do my centrifugal. Okay. I'm not saying they're bad. I think they're fine. But if we're looking to get the most out of our juices and the highest level of nutrition we can get out of it, then I definitely like using these. Now listen, this juicer is, I think you can probably get these for about a little over $200 now for just the juicer. And then they have other packages where you can get the juicer and you can get these things to make nut butter with. So you can make nut butter with these, by the way, just as it is. But they give you a couple other little things that you can drain the nut butter into, like cheesecloth, sats, and that kind of stuff. And they'll come with books, juicing books. But the juicer alone now, again, you can get for a little over $200. That should be within pretty much everybody's price range. Now you can always go, right? There's places in town here. I live in Ashland, Oregon, if you guys are not from here. Every town pretty much, I would think by now, probably has some kind of juice bar. So co-ops usually have, food co-ops usually have juice bars. We have another one in town called Raw. And then you can certainly buy juices in the store, but here's my challenge with buying juices. They've been on the shelf too long. And the juice starts to degrade as soon as you finish juicing this, the juice will start to degrade. So that's why when I make the second juice today, that's going to be for my lunch, I'm actually putting it right into the refrigerator to keep it as cold as possible so there's no degradation. You'll also see that what I'll do is I'll be putting those in glass. I like to keep everything in glass, not even BPA plastic. You can, but I'm not a big one on any kind of plastic, so I stay away from that. So you'll notice that everything's just coming out this end, right, as we've been talking, and it really fills this container up. And I haven't even gotten to my apples. I haven't even gotten to my... So here's the cilantro and the parsley together. Just put it down. You know, you don't have to be... You don't have to make it look really good. Just get in there. I try and get that stuff in there. Don't abuse your juicer, right? Use it, don't abuse it. But it's pretty amazing. And then here comes the apples. So the apples are for, obviously, the sweetness. I only use Granny Smith apples. The main reason I use Granny Smith is because they have a very low glycemic index. So I'm always looking at keeping blood sugar levels in a good range and not spiking blood sugar. So a lot of times, most of us are having challenges with blood sugar. So if you're having challenges with energy levels, etc., the food you're eating, we're talking about blood sugar, right? How your body's digesting it, and if it spikes your blood sugar too high, then you have a higher insulin response than you should be. Causes a lot of challenges. Those are hormonal issues that we're actually talking about, right? So the carrot also adds some sweetness. Here goes my jalapeno. Yoo-hoo, that's down there, right? And it doesn't, you know, those things, that's not a lot of juice for jalapeno at all. So, and it still gives a massive kick. So again, only use what you're gonna. And then I have somewhere here, I have my wheatgrass. So all I'm gonna do is take a little bit of this, like a little handful, get in there. This is just the way the professionals do it. They have their wheatgrass, and they put it in there. And what I usually do for my wheatgrass is sometimes I do it all by itself, but I usually use about a quarter of what this single bin is. So that's a little more maybe than a quarter, but we'll have just a little more wheatgrass this morning. Again, wheatgrass is really incredible for detoxifying, and the chlorophyll is really good for your body. So that's everything right there. Oops, I missed a piece of kale. So that's everything right there. And then what I'm going to do with this is I usually just give it a moment for this to come out, and I'll actually just get in there and pull this out because it's still working its way out, everything that we just put in there. Yeah? So this bin, this container that it's catching it in, is about 28 8 ounces. So right now, and I've already measured this out because it comes out all the time, this is about 26.5 ounces, which is quite a bit of juice, right? But that's awesome. That's what we're looking for. So after that, we're really good there. I just shut it off. And what I'll do is I'll take this and just stick it underneath because this will kind of drain a little bit. I'm going to get this out of the way. And I want you, again, cleaning it is very, very, very simple. So we got this, and I need a teaspoon. Stay right there. I'm right here. I'm just coming around for a teaspoon. There's my hand. Okay, I didn't leave you. All right, so then my spirulina, I just come in, basically take a level teaspoon. That goes in there. And then I take my super duper mix here. I take it comes with its own scoop. That goes in there. And I keep these in the freezer. So that'll go back in the freezer when I'm done. And then the turmeric, just for a little more kick if it didn't have enough kick. Right? I'm just using a little, that much. And again, if you don't want to do the turmeric, you don't have to. But again, really, really good for you. And then all I'm going to do, now listen, if you have like a little mini blender or something, or one of those things, whatever you call those, then use that. I'm a guy, so I'm not all that worried about this stuff getting fully mixed up, because when I'm actually drinking this, I'm actually chewing it at the same time. So you will still, with this, have tiny, tiny little bits of some of the particles of the food in there. Not enough to really feel like you're chewing anything, but I just kind of mix this around a little bit. Try to break up all the little chunks of what we just put in. Yeah, and then you want to take your time when you're drinking your juice. Think of it as a meal. So again, there's an old Chinese, I guess we can call it a proverb, that says, chew your water and drink your food. And what they're actually just trying to get you to understand is that they want you to basically liquefy what you're eating. So drinking your food means you have to chew it enough, which is called mastication, just like a mastication juicer. Chew it enough until it's almost liquid. There shouldn't be big chunks, because that's one of your first stages of digestion, is chewing your food enough so that your body doesn't have to break it down and try to do that. You shouldn't be abusing your stomach and your digestive tract to try and break down all your food when you have these incredible teeth that are supposed to be doing a good portion of that, breaking down that tissue. So, and then the other aspect of chewing your water. So anything that's liquid, we want you to actually swoosh it around in your mouth, almost like you're tasting wine, because what that's actually doing is it's releasing enzymes that come out through your gum lining, and actually that's part of the pre-digestive process before it hits your gut, which stimulates digestion and gets your gut set up to stimulate. So I'm going to back up just for a minute. So it's morning time. So in the morning, I drink my juice out of a morning glass. These are just things I do, guys, to make my life interesting and fun. And then you saw me in our first video. But if it's in the evening, because I have a juice in the evening, this is my way of kind of saying, hey, I'm kind of more sophisticated, and this is my sophistication juice, right? But it's the same juice that I'm doing. So that's really all it is, guys. So I'll show you. This will probably, I think this is more than this glass can handle. Right? So just a tiny bit I have left in there. But that's really it. This is my juice for the morning. Again, right after we're done here, I'm going to actually, I have it all cut up already. I'm going to make one more juice. That takes me about another 10 minutes or so. That'll go into a glass jar with a lid, and I'll put that in the refrigerator, keep it really cold, and then I'll bring it to work. When I get to work, I put it right in my refrigerator, and then I drink that for lunch. So right now, I'm actually doing a juice cleanse. So juice cleanses can be a day, a couple days, a week, a couple weeks. You can take them into a month, and there are people that actually do them for longer than that. It depends on what you're trying to do. So we're not going to go deeply into that today, but I would tell you that juicing, even if you just add it to your normal daily routine, you're still eating breakfast, you're still eating lunch, you're still eating dinner, but you start adding juice, it will make a huge difference, because you're feeding those cells, those hundreds of trillions of cells that this body is. And it can really do some wonderful things for you, okay? So I would encourage you, join me. This is all again about, I just want to share with you this idea of how I live a holistic health lifestyle. So the exercise and the nutrition and the meditation and what I do just to bring joy into my life and just really live a wonderful life. So I want to hear from you guys now. What would you like to see? Do you want to see more exercise? Do you want to see more nutrition, which I'm happy to do? More things about spirituality and meditation and awakening? More things about awakening and letting go of what the mind's holding on to and truly understanding who you are? All these things are part of creating a holistic, meaning the whole person, and every aspect about your person, and how to really live an optimum life. So you're really, really feeling youthful, vibrant, you have a great sense of peace and well-being and wellness in your life. That's what this is for me. All right? So please leave your comments. Again, Kathy, my web guru, social media guru, she should be posting the recipe for this. If you have any questions, please, please, please go ahead and mark them down. I'm going to go right to my laptop and start answering your questions while I finish my juice. And so until then, take good care. I'll see you guys tomorrow for another video, and we'll be talking more about juicing and nutrition. All right? Take care.